Morning. Are you coming in then?
Good morning, and what a show we've got lined up for you today. Today's going to be a good one. Changing room star and legend Laurence Llewellyn-Bowen will be making his debut in the Saturday morning studio. I'm keeping my house very locked for that one. Me and my trusty Minnie will be meeting up with Chef Paul Rankin as my food adventures take me to Northern Ireland. We've got recipes on the way from the very talented Sally Aby and the legendary French chef Daniel Galmiche. And it might be November, but don't miss this week's Little Masterclass when you get a little helping hand and prep ahead with all your Christmas food. And that's not all, because I'm here with the globe-trotting chef whose restaurant empire reaches all the way from the UK to Australia. It's the brilliant Mr. Mike Reid. Good to have you on the show. Good to have you at the house again. Now, I'm cooking for you, which makes a bit of a change, doesn't it?
It's a nice change, James.
What have you brought with you, and what are you going to be cooking for us?
So I'm going to be doing a dish from one of my new restaurants, M in Canary Wharf.
I love how you say one of your new restaurants. Go on.
Doing a halibut dish with a coffee and celeriac puree.
A coffee and celeriac?
Yeah.
It's a first for me.
It's a beautiful play on like an autumnal dish. It's lovely.
Fantastic. Look forward to that one. But we're kicking things off today with not one, not two, but three, and probably four. I don't know. I'm just going to make this up as I go along. Japanese-inspired recipes. I'm going to use some salmon. We've got some beef, and we've got some chicken. And now, as you know, you've watched this. We started trying to introduce the people at home about all the amazing produce we have in this country.
Yeah.
But we're going to go a little bit further afield, via Yorkshire, but a little bit further afield as well. So to find out more about some of the ingredients that we're going to use, because I'm going to start off using these from the very beginning. Like I said, we're not going to head to Japan for this, but we're going to head to Sheffield to speak to Stuart Turner, a.k.a. in my industry is known as Sushi Stew. I can see him in his busy unit there. Welcome to the show, Stuart. Good to see you. Good to speak to you.
Hi, James. How's it going?
Now, tell us about all this, because behind you is the sort of epicentre where it all is now. But how did your love affair with this sort of Japanese produce start?
It's probably started when I was living in Australia, so throwback to Mike. But, you know, with it being in Asia, there's some fantastic Asian ingredients, Asian food out there. And, you know, being able to access Japanese food, you know, I'm from Sheffield, so there wasn't at the time, in the early 2000s, there was not really any Japanese food there. But moving to Australia for a while, you know, really exposed me to all these amazing flavours.
But, I mean, talking about trends, and I'm not really one to follow trends and stuff like that, as you can tell, but one thing that you cannot ignore is food trends. And one of the biggest food trends at the moment is Japanese food, particularly this one ingredient that we're going to start with over here, because I want to get started with this and start cooking with this as well. Tell us about koji, because what I've done here is I've taken some different cuts of meat over here and fish. I've got salmon over here that I'm marinating in this koji for an hour. I've got the steak over here. You can tell the difference between steak that's not marinated and one that is for 8 hours, and then the chicken which I've got in there that's marinated for an hour as well, that I've just put straight in the oven and under the grill. So tell us, first of all, what koji is, and you see that on the menu quite a lot. This is this little stuff in little packs. I'm going to show people in a minute, but what is it and what do you do with it?
It's a good question. What's koji? I mean, you do see it knocking about everywhere if you go to fine dining restaurants, but it's kind of starting to trickle down into the mainstream now. So koji itself is kind of like a spore or a mold almost, or a yeast that's native to Japan, when it comes from Japan. And it's the cornerstone of more or less all Japanese ingredients. It's what turns rice into sake and soybeans into miso or soy sauce. So it's the thing that sort of like starts off the flavour and fermentation process from all these Japanese ingredients. You know, so whatever you put it on, you know, what you've got there is a thing called shio koji, which is the koji that's been put onto rice and then brought up to temperature, and then it starts activating. And then what happens when it activates is that you get loads of umami. I mean, that's another buzzword, isn't it? So loads of umami on something. And also what it does is it breaks down the fibers of the meat, you know, the starches or the proteins, and it makes everything more tender. So it converts things into sugars and umami. So it's going to be more savoury and a little bit more sweet as well, but not sweet in that sugary way.
Well, you can tell what it does to the beef as well. It almost, you say it breaks down, but it almost firms it up as well. I mean, I've just put some on here, but you can tell the redness of that, what it changes after about 8 hours. It's amazing.
It draws out that moisture, do you know what I mean? So it changes the structure of the beef because it's almost the first cooking stage.
Yeah.
So it firms it up and just adds another layer of flavour to it. It's incredible.
So that's what koji is, which is in this packs here now as well. So I'm gonna be marinating that. I'm gonna put it in there with a nice little sort of teriyaki sauce as well. But what I want to do with the salmon is I want to serve it with this another one, which is a little bit of miso, which you're going to tell us about this, because this has become hugely popular over the years.
Yeah, I mean, miso in general is just becoming really popular for all sorts of different reasons. Again, it's got that koji umami sort of meatiness. You'll see miso used in vegetarian dishes for like meat alternatives, and you can just build up that sort of savoury flavour with it. And obviously, you've got a little kind of sweetness as well. But again, it's all from the koji. So this one you've particularly got here is quite interesting because it's from a part of Japan called Nagano, which is really famous for tiny miso producers. So this is like a really little artisanal miso company, and they've done a collaboration with a spice farm from this rare spice that you can only get in the mountains of Nagano called sansho. So it's kind of got like a peppery sort of taste, but it's got a lemongrass smell, and it's also got a strange anesthetic quality on your mouth. So you get a little gentle numbing feeling as well. So it's quite interesting.
So that's that one. I'm so excited about all these bits of meat. I'm going to give Mike something else. This is another one that I wanted to try. This is amazing. I'm going to serve this with a little bit of salmon. This as well. This is shiitake mushroom ponzu. Tell everybody what that is.
Right. Okay. Ponzu, quite trendy, like koji at the moment, really. But ponzu basically means as like a citrus dressing. So any citrus, anything that's salty, like soy sauce. And then some kind of stock as well. So this one, with the classic one is yuzu, dashi, which is like katsuobushi sort of, like a bonito fish stock, and soy sauce. This one's like a take on it. So this one, rather than having yuzu and fish stock, this one is shiitake mushroom stock and sudachi. And sudachi is kind of like a Japanese lime. But again, like kaffir lime is not the same as our limes. It's just a different sort of, a little bit more sharp perhaps. So it's just an interesting take on that, and really good with, seared fish or raw fish, or even you can mix it with olive oil for a dressing. I'm
glad you said that, because I'm just putting it on a little bit of salmon over here that I've just simply cooked. The flavour of that, straight out the bottle is amazing as well. So that's that. Look, you see what's happening with our steak over here. Look at this. This is where you get this sort of, look, this is what happens when you've got that koji in it. You get that instant colour. So you want to put it in the oven first, and then I'm just going to char it like that and then finish it off, and we're going to serve it this teriyaki over here. So moving on to a couple of other things. There are fish sauces, and there's fish sauces. This is one of the most unbelievable things I've ever tasted this year. What is that? The scallop thing.
I mean, what is that? You could say that's pretty much everything, couldn't you?
Yeah.
So that
what is
it? So we've got loads of stock concentrates. So they're all called shiro dashi, which means like white stock. So they are essentially stocks, because people you'll probably hear, if you watch different programs like cooking programs, you'll hear about dashi, and dashi is just a Japanese word for stock. So once you start playing with stocks, it doesn't have to just be that classic sort of like Japanese fish stock. It can be anything, like we do kombu dashi, which is the sea kelp. And this one is scallop dashi. So the company that make this, they make stocks from everything that's local to Hokkaido. Hokkaido is the North Island of Japan, and it's famous for salmon. It's famous for scallops, crab, kombu, and sea urchin. So they make all different products that are based around their local product. So this one is a scallop stock, but concentrated down 15 times. So when you taste it, it tastes like a really concentrated cooked scallop, but it's cold. So you can serve it with raw scallops. You might see like a scallop sashimi dish. If you put some of this on it, it's going to taste like all the benefits of having that raw scallop with that fantastic texture, but all the tastiness of like a cooked scallop as well. So that's a really interesting one. And in these products are not just straight. So there'll be a bit of mirin in there. There'll be a bit of other things as well, just to balance it all out.
So before you go, is there anything that's new and funky that you sort of find as well as that? Or are you still looking for the old little secret places in the little villages high up in the mountains and stuff like that? The people who've been doing it for years and years and years.
Yeah, it's all about the hunt for me. I love it. COVID's been a bit of a pain because I've not been able to go to Japan, but it's about to reopen. So literally just going to head back out there now and start looking for some funky stuff. I've actually trying to get this fish sauce, which is made from squid intestine, called ishiri. So I'm going to try and find some of that. This sounds disgusting, but apparently that's the most tasty thing for fish sauce in the world. So I'm going to go to the end of the earth, see if I can find some.
Well, best of luck with everything, and I'll speak to you very, very soon. No doubt in the next sort of
Brilliant.
2 hours, probably, as well, really. Exactly. So I'm just going to recap what we got on here. Look, we've got our nice little bit of... This is our little bit of chicken. All I've done with the chicken is put it in that koji, put it in the oven, nothing else, a little dressing over the top. We've got our beef over here that I've taken some rice, and this is a little bit of deep-fried rice, which crisps up. And then I've got mushrooms, which I got from Stu as well, and created a little ketchup that you can just put a few bits of that on it. And then we've got some of these little sort of herbs. We've got some spring onions that can go over the top. The salmon as well, just cooked really, really simply. That's that one over the top of there.
The smells are incredible.
The smells amazing.
Yeah.
And the beef is just, I mean, this is just, it is proper, I cannot tell you. If you've never tried this before, it alters the meat so much, doesn't it? And so simple.
It's the easiest way and probably quickest way to change the flavour of a very, very simple, cheap piece of meat and have it eat really well. Do you know what I mean? Like that little bit of seasoning can elevate it so much.
It is absolutely magic. So there you have it, a little insight into Japanese ingredients and a little Japanese cooking. There's a whole world out there as well, and we've only just not even scratched the surface, but there you have it. All the amazing dishes you can do very, very quickly at home.
Really?
You want to taste this one first, the beef? Happy with that? There
definitely.
you go. Mike,
Thank you.
Before you go, Stuart, thanks very much for doing this as well. You got a great analogy about koji, really, in terms of cooking.
Yeah, so it's quite hard to sort of conceptualise what it is, but imagine if you've been cooking a steak and then somebody said, have you tried putting salt on it? And just how it still tastes like steak, but better. And again, if you're putting koji on meat or fish, it just still tastes like the original thing, but better. It
takes it to a different level. And talking about, you'd like that?
Oh, my God.
Just going to finally, I just want to say thank you very much anyway. Thanks for being a part of this. Best of luck with everything. Take care of yourself, Stuart. Cheerio. Right, I want you to taste this and give you a reaction. This is smoked vinegar. I don't know what you do with it.
Do you want me to use a spoon?
Just taste it. Taste it. I think I have the same effect. It's off the charts. What is that?
Oh, my God.
What is that?
Like, wow.
I know, it's just it's this flavour, bang, in your mouth.
It just hits you, but then it just keeps on going.
That's brilliant.
Like, unbelievable.
It's great, isn't it? Mike will be cooking in a bit for us, and I'll be talking to the one and only Laurence Llewellyn-Bowen very shortly, but don't go anywhere, because after the break, I'm off to Northern Ireland on another one of my food adventures. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, Chef Daniel Galmiche will be cooking a dish of pork loin a little bit later on the show, and I'll be laying on lunch for Laurence Llewellyn-Bowen very shortly. The house is still locked. Right, it's time to take a look back at one of my favourite food adventures. And this week, me and Paul Rankin are exploring Northern Ireland as I'm serving a dish of salmon made with some locally sourced wasabi. Yes, Ireland and wasabi.
Wow.
Amazing it was as well. Enjoy this one. Our journey in Northern Ireland continues as we head inland to the largest freshwater lake in the British Isles. I'm exploring Loch Ness and the surrounding countryside with my old mate and top chef, Paul Rankin.
This is almost like the food heartland of Northern Ireland. You know, this is the garden where things grow. Great spuds, great orchards, great vegetables, great berries. All that sort of stuff is fabulous around here.
Loch Ness is west of Belfast, and with a diverse habitat, it's a haven for wildlife. At around 9 miles wide and 19 miles long, it's also a valuable source of fresh water and food. First off, we're going to Tandragee.
Actually, I'll take you to a guy who actually grows wasabi.
What, Japanese wasabi?
Japanese wasabi. It's pretty cutting edge for here to be growing.
I'll try anything.
A Japanese vegetable in Northern Ireland. So what's nice about what's happening in Northern Ireland now is we're getting a really adventurous generation. So instead of just being Bramley apple producers, we have cider producers, we have apple juice producers, a thing called black butter in Northern Ireland, which is superb.
Unbelievable. That's using Armagh apples, isn't it?
Armagh Bramley apples, spices, sugar, treacle, cooked
amazing.
down.
Oh, that is amazing.
Super thing. Oh, James. Oh.
You haven't done it again, have you?
What do you mean, done it again?
We're meeting father and son entrepreneurs Sean and Zach Kitson at their wasabi farm in their back garden. Now, how on earth did this all start?
Well, it's actually started by my son when he was about 14 years old.
It's your idea?
It's his idea. It's actually Zach's idea, yeah. So
why wasabi? You like the taste of it, or?
No, it's just like unusual.
Very unusual to be grown in
Ireland.
In Ireland as well.
But I'm very happy that you did, because I love the horseradish family.
Like
it's not the horseradish family, though.
No.
I don't like horseradish, you see.
The difference between the horseradish and wasabi is that the active ingredient in here is thioisocyanate. In horseradish, it's phenyl isocyanate. They're the difference between.
Will you remember that?
So.
I remember the taste of it. But there is a distinct, massive difference in taste, anyway.
Yeah, you would like this. It's more sweeter taste.
Yeah. You said you can eat the leaves?
I want to have a look inside in a minute, but how long does it take to get from you plant it as a seedling to the finished article that you can sell?
Takes
up to 3 years.
Years?
Yeah, years.
3 years?
Yeah.
And that's why it's so expensive,
yes.
I guess.
£250 to £350 a kilo.
That's truffle money. Can we leave you to prep some? So we can have a taste of it?
Yes.
And then can you show us around what's happening in there?
That's
Is that right?
Yeah, we can do that, yes.
Cool. Let's do it.
Let's have a look. I would say I don't know what to expect, but I've never seen it before. I've never seen it growing, have you?
Never.
Oh. So can we dig some of this up?
Yeah, I can do it.
I'm going to leave it with you. At that price per kilo, I'll leave it with you.
We can try and get this one out here. So you'd be amazed. There could be 20 plants here.
Really? He's figuring out in his head. That's about 1,500 quid.
So as you can see, there's that big one there.
Green gold.
So these are all the ones we could sell, these.
50 quid?
£50, yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Don't need to do too much, that's all right.
So this one actually comes out purpley.
Yeah, because it's the purple ring, you see, yeah. Now, you have to wait for about 5 minutes or so for it to do its chemical reaction.
Yeah,
I bet you don't do that. Then mash it around your mouth. Put it all in. Really.
No, I'm not putting it all in. David put you up now.
Swallow.
It's nice. It's not too bad.
You're crying over there, look.
No, tears of joy.
Right.
Tears of joy. I love a bit of wasabi. Actually, you know what it reminds me of?
It's good. It's not.
Put it into your mouth and swizzle it around.
Say it's not.
Do you know what, though? You get flavour, you get a bit of heat, and then it goes.
Yeah, it goes. Clears your sinuses.
Clears your palate.
I never thought I would be converted to the flavour of that in a back garden in Northern Ireland.
Hey, Paul, have some more.
I'll have some more. Yeah.
So while Paul recovers a bit, I've come 32 miles south of Lough Neagh to Slieve Gullion, the highest point in County Armagh. The Ring of Gullion, small selection of little hills. Stunning, you can see for miles. And talking of stunning, this dish is amazing as well. I'm going to use some of this wasabi. And what I'm going to do is create a wonderful little light, simple dressing to go with this lovely little salmon. And if you like sushi, but you want to try something slightly different, this is the perfect recipe. So what I'm going to do is just peel this and then just grate it. Now, what you do need, really, is one of these graters. And if you roll this around over the grater, you get this paste from it as well. You can see that almost straight away. This is like rocket fuel. We don't want too much of it. And then for our dressing, you use a combination of soy, and the citrus side of it, the vinegar, comes in the form of this sort of stuff. This is yuzu juice. It's like a really fresh citrus, just a touch in there. And this is the vinegar part of the dressing when you think about that. When you taste it, It's lovely. It certainly wakes you up. It's fabulous, particularly after a night out down there on the Guinness. And then you take some lime. Just give that a quick stir, and that's really your dressing done. So we can leave that to one side. Meanwhile, turn our attention to our pan, because I'm going to cook my sesame seeds. I've got some dark and I've got some white sesame seeds over here. You just put a bit of each in there, and then we're going to toast in a nice hot, dry pan. Now, I've also got some oil on here, because what I'm going to do is create a nice little tempura batter. All you do is just get some sparkling water and corn flour, nothing else. But what you're doing is creating a very, very sort of light batter. You don't want it too thick. That's the important bit. I'm going to take my spring onions, and I'm going to leave the root on the spring onions. And just where they start to split, just cut it through there. And just slice through. And every slice that you do, just turn it a quarter and go again. And try and make little thin strips all the way through. So I'll show you one more. So just cut it in half, turn it, half again, and keep doing that. So you almost got this nice little flour part of it as it opens up. Pop the spring onions in the batter. Take the sesame. We'll tip that in there. And we'll turn our attention now to the salmon bit. And all around Ireland, we have amazing salmon. So you can start at one end, and I'll just show you. I'll just cut this through here so you can see it a lot easier. This is called a little bloodline in here. You're trying to slice it and then lift it off before you cut into that bloodline. So when you get to that stage, just lift the knife up a little bit. And that's one slice. And we keep going. And this is going to take me about 2 or 3 minutes, but it's a bit boring, this bit, so enjoy the view. Just take your time to slice this nice and thin. So once you get to that stage, we can grab our fritters. Now, it's important when you do these to do them in batches. Just pop them straight in the fryer. Very, very hot fryer. You can hear that crisp up. And these want to go in there for about 30 seconds. And as they cook, they just open up. It is great, this place. You can come up here and enjoy the view. You don't have to pay to get in, you just drive in and stop off. Right, look, in here. This is sesame oil. Now, hardly ever, ever, ever do you cook with sesame oil. But what we're trying to do with this sesame oil is get it really, really hot. Because what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to partly cook this fish with this sesame oil. And then I've got some of this stuff as well. You hardly ever see this as well. This is Mizuna leaf. Tastes amazing as well. So a few bits of that. Now, this is the one and only time, really, where you cook with sesame oil. But when the oil gets hot enough and you put it on the fish, and you can see it sizzling on the piece of fish, and it starts to partly cook it. You can hear it sizzle on the piece of fish, like that. We can then turn our attention to this dressing as well, because this is this wasabi, the soy, and that wonderful little bit of yuzu juice. Touch of lime. Put that with it as well. It's an amazing combination, this. But then, of course, I've got some sesame seeds, and then you can decorate it with some of these amazing spring onions, just for a nice little bit of texture. Mizuna leaf, a few bits of that on it. And there you have it. I didn't think I was going to be cooking that on the top of a hill with that view. But that is almost as pretty as that. Hurry up and take a picture before the rain comes. Come on. Now, it is amazing, wasabi. When you taste wasabi fresh...
It's a different product.
It's nothing like, you know, I mean, presumably they make it out of horseradish.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not the same.
The paste is cut with 50% horseradish.
Yeah.
Because fresh wasabi loses its heat after about 2-3 minutes.
But it's incredible, the flavour you get from it.
It's amazing.
Like I said, there you go. Right, now Mike will be cooking for us a little bit shortly. You're cooking what?
I'm cooking a pan-fried halibut with a coffee and celeriac puree.
First for me as well. And join us a minute when we've got recipes from Sally AB and Daniel Galmiche as well. But we'll see you back here in a couple of minutes when we're making a winter salad for changing room star Laurence Llewellyn-Bowen. I'll see you in a bit. welcome back. Now, coming up, I'll be handing over the hobs to Chef Mike Reid, and I'll be starting to get ready for Christmas in this week's Little Masterclass. But first, I'm here with a changing room star who's knocked down more walls, stripped more wallpaper, and repainted more living rooms than I've had hot dinners. This is the brilliant Mr. Laurence Llewellyn-Bowen. Now, first of all, welcome to the house.
Thank you very much indeed.
You can critique it as we go on the morning. It's entirely up to you. I'm open for it as well.
Are you? That's
first of all, is it okay?
Listen, what I love is the fact that it's so unbelievably you. Right. You have literally smeared you all over it.
Right, OK.
It's a sort of very heady combination of petrol and testosterone.
Is that what it is?
little element of cooking every now and again.
A bit like what you used to do, anyway, in the old changing rooms thing.
Yeah.
Going back, because the great thing about doing stuff like this, you kind of read about all these people and you get a little bit of know out. Now, I was trying to figure out, it's a bit like the chicken and egg. What came first? Changing rooms or Ready Steady Cook? It's about the same sort of time. We were slightly...
Listen, I'm going to completely own up to the fact that Changing Rooms was nothing but a very flimsy reinterpretation of Ready Steady Cook. But it was, I mean, I think this was the whole thing. It was such an enormous... Both you and I were very much part of that kind of nursery that led to all these sort of strange lifestyle shows which were about fashion suddenly and cookery and interiors and gardens.
It went odd, didn't it?
It just went off this enormous kind of, mushroom cloud of lifestyle that got detonated in the mid-90s.
But it was almost the simplicity of it that made it successful.
Well, the format... Because, again, I think this is a moment where format became something in British television which hadn't really existed before. But I think the fundamental thing was there was a great hunger for people wanting to do things in a slightly more exotic way. Up until that point, up until the mid-90s, interior design was something that posh people had, suddenly anyone could have it.
Because you, like me, had a proper job before we did any of this.
And like you, I still have a proper job as well.
Exactly. But what you were, I mean, art was your thing, was it, at school?
Well, I did. Yeah, I mean, I trained as a fine artist, but then I was looking for ways of applying fine art, and I got involved in interior design very quickly. But yeah, I had a flourishing practice. A lot of very wealthy clients who were absolutely appalled to see me on television.
This is what I want to know, because when you were doing this, what was that like? You were doing somebody's house, and then the next minute you were doing changing rooms, because you had a huge successful, well, still do, but a career in interior design, very high end.
Well, it just was one of these things that people were very obviously quite proud. These are very, very wealthy people. They didn't like the idea of me turning up to a site meeting with a load of paparazzi, fundamentally. So it was a rather bizarre thing, actually. Television totally ruined my career in the early days. So I lost every major client I had.
But you mentioned the fact of your art as well. This is the thing when you go off script and start Googling bits and pieces about it.
No.
Wasn't Adamant a client of yours in terms of your art?
Yeah, no, he bought quite a lot of my paintings. After I left art school, I had quite a successful gallery career for a year. And they were very, very large neoclassical naked ladies. And they kind of cropped up. And in fact, they still do. Again, if you go on the internet these days, you can find elements of my juvenilia. The ones that never have surfaced. When I was at school, I used to have a nice little side earner doing very, very overheated Art Nouveau pornography for other boys for 50p a pop.
50p a pop.
And none of that has come back to haunt me, which I think is a shame. I think it could be both erotic and decorative at the same time.
Because when you were talking about your art as well, that's an expression of who you are as an artist, I always think, as well. But that is an expression of how you are, how you dress, how you...
Well, yeah, I mean...
You're not minimalist.
No, I ain't minimalist.
You've never been minimalist. And that goes through trends as well.
Well, actually, sometimes I have been minimalist, but there's something very maximalist about my minimalism. I take minimalism into a whole new place. But no, I think that this is one of the things that actually our television genre really pioneered in the mid-90s, the idea that, if you felt you weren't part of that mass-produced beige mould, be it in the way that you dressed, be it in the way that you had your home, be it in the way that you had...
Magnolia and grey it went to at one point.
Well, I think it's still a bit on the grey side.
Is it?
Unfortunately. the influences are... Now, that looks a little lumpy, my friend. What's it?
This is the blue cheese in there. It's the blue cheese. It's supposed to be like that.
OK, all right.
Don't worry,
just a tactile experience. It looks like office wallpaper at the moment.
It's not finished yet, Laurence. It's not finished yet. It's not done yet. We've got some croutons. We've got...
Are you going to serve it on a carpet tile?
I will do in a minute. Look, we just got our nice... This...
Holy hell, what's that?
This is amazing. This is duck confit in a can. You haven't lived until you've eaten this.
No, I've had it. It's just... it looks a bit like white swarfiga.
This is unbelievable. We take this out, and this is the duck confit meat.
Is that even allowed these days?
Yeah, it's amazing. And I warm this up, and that's going to be on there. So tell me what you're up to now, then, because Changing Rooms is back.
Changing Rooms came back. It's come back twice, and it's got better and better and better, actually. It's been very, very much enjoyable. I think with this newfound emphasis on the structures that we're creating, it's still got all the kind of the panto that made it so popular, but it is a lot more about interior design.
And what about the team?
Well, the team, we got a very, very fresh, shiny new team, which is very good at making me look very old. You know, there was a sort of a debate about whether we should bring back some of the other dinosaurs. But they decided instead it would, if we did that, it would be Jurassic Park.
It's a bit like when they redid the route of Ready, Steady, Cook, didn't it? Really? Everybody thought I was going to be expecting a phone call, but there wasn't a phone call. But
well, I was very surprised. I mean, I assumed that when they were going to reboot it, they would do it, they would recast it. You know, I was anticipating sort of watching from the sidelines, sort of being rather relieved that I didn't have to squeeze myself back into my leather trousers. And in fact, originally, I was turning it down twice a week, which of course made them want me even more. And I think actually my you know, now looking back at my 27, 28-year television career, I've suddenly realised that I've probably spent at least 25 years of that trying to get out of it. Very unsuccessfully.
And now you're back into it as well, not just in terms of television. We're going to get onto the other stuff you're doing as well, but this is... Tell us about the book then, because this has been a love for you as well. And this is talk about a book being an expression of its author.
I know, right?
Look at it.
It's just like, if I wrote a book, that's what I'd look like. Well, that was sort of the brief in many ways. So the most extraordinary thing happened coming out of lockdown, basically. Hashtag maximalism absolutely exploded on social media because people suddenly felt irritated by the fact that they'd imprisoned themselves into grey living rooms. So suddenly people were then showing the world via social media that they were repainting in outlandish colours, they were using big patterns, they were, you know, getting Granny's china out of the attic. And I loved this idea. I loved the idea of being able to write a book that could be a manifesto for anyone that felt that they wanted to turn their back on the kind of the wet cardboard, soft modernism, the sort of the minimalism that had been dominating the way that British interior design looks. So,
because when you're reading it, I mean, I read a little bit about one of the most amazing buildings I've ever seen is definitely not minimalistic. The Taj Mahal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, one of the most beautiful buildings you'll ever see in the world.
Extraordinary space. And actually, I mean, for me, maximalism comes with a particular kind of mindset. And in fact, in the book, I hoik out a load of maximalist icons like Shah Jahan, who created the Taj Mahal. But then also, I make a big fuss of your Auntie Rita, and I think we all had an Auntie Rita. The auntie that turned out and her blouse was a little bit too unbuttoned and her French perfume was a little bit on the strong side. And our parents were very disapproving of Rita, but somehow Rita always made the party start. You know, she always had fun. It was always about the cocktails and the leopard print cushions and the bar cart. And actually, I feel really strongly that people should, as you so rightly said, people should be indulged when they want to express who they are and what they are through interior decoration, rather than having this kind of uniform sense of modernist good taste, which I think we are really rebelling against.
I always think people build houses to sell, and do houses. Why don't you do it to live in?
I completely agree. Your home has to be somewhere where you feel comfortable about recharging. And I can't bear the literature that's been generated over the last 20 years from people saying that you had to declutter, you have to fold your underpants into fortune cookie shapes, you have to sort of, you know, understate your colour palette. All of that is absolutely fine if you're that sort of rather dull person. But actually, most people, I think, really enjoy the idea of being bold, being large, being exciting.
Do you know what would be a great show as well? Almost like a documentary on your family, because your house is full as well as things full of people.
Well, we're now on to our third grandchildren, which means we're halfway towards having a six-a-side football team. But the idea of my granddaughters playing football like that would be quite amusing. But no, I mean, we are literally the little manor house on the prairie now. Several generations, we work together, we live together, and we really do enjoy what we're doing. It's about sort of reconnecting with the way that you know, family life actually was before these sort of rather weird people in the 1920s invented modernism and modern living. You know, you worked and lived where you lived. That's extraordinary what you're doing there.
Do you like that?
It's gravity-defying.
Expression of, you know, I'm thinking if you're going to do a salad, then for Laurence, you've got to do this. But this is a warm salad. So we've got different herbs in here. We've got crispy bacon. I've got some blue cheese.
There's also a lot of love in there, isn't there, James? I can tell.
There's a lot of work that's gone in there.
There's a lot of work and a lot of love.
There's a lot of work that's gone in here. And then we take some croutons so you get a different texture as you go in as well. But there you have it. Laurence?
Wonderful.
Done.
I mean, does one applaud?
You can do, or you can just look at it.
I'm applauding with my eyes. Well done, salad. Bravo.
There we have it.
Wow. That is a maximalist salad.
Well, I'm always thinking, you see, matches the suit.
It's just, well, it's going to be all over the skin. Can't really eat it delicately, can you? But that's the thing about your food. It's very hearty, isn't it?
It's tasty. It's tasty. But you taste that with the bacon, the dressing. I love it. It's delicious with the croutons.
It is absolutely lovely. It's just the bits of herb coming out of my mouth.
Is it?
So I look like Ermintrude from the Magic Roundabout.
There we have it.
It's really nice.
Now we're treating Laurence to gin and beetroot cured salmon a little bit later on in the show.
Wow.
You'll have white teeth, as we read. And I'll be helping you get prepared for Christmas with the countdown for Christmas and this week's little masterclass. But join me again after the break when top chef Mike Reid will be here working his magic in the kitchen. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, I'll be cooking a spot of lunch for Laurence Llewellyn-Bowen, and the multi-Michelin star chef, Daniel Galmiche, will be showcasing his kitchen skills in here a little bit later. But first, I'm here with a chef who's taken the Australian food scene by storm, whilst finding time to do Ready, Steady, Cook and host a number of restaurants over here. It's the brilliant Mike Reid. Yeah. Also, Sally's with us as well. So what are we going to be doing then, Mike? What are you going to be doing?
So this is a pan-fried halibut dish. Essentially, what I did yesterday was I took the fillets off the bone and then I've smoked the bones. So we smoked them in our Josper.
Of course you have. Yes.
Just gives it a whole nother layer of flavour.
So the Josper's the equivalent of the pizza oven I've got outside.
Exactly.
That's the charcoal version of that.
It's the charcoal version. So you get a heavy, wood coal smoke on there, which and all the vegetables for the stock in there as well. So your leeks. I've gone white because for it's fish, so leeks, onion, celery, everything here, ginger, lemongrass, and then we add some white wine to this now. Some water.
I'll turn it on for you. There you go.
Bring it to the boil, leave it to simmer, and you end up with a beautiful stock, which is just so much flavour.
And unlike meat stocks, you don't need to cook that for too long.
No. This one I do for about an hour.
Yeah.
It's more than enough. So essentially, you bring it to boil, leave it to simmer, hour, pass it off, and then you end up with...
That's for my tea later.
Please.
Right. Not the bones, mind you, the liquid, yeah.
And then you end up with this gorgeous stock, and the flavour in there is great. But what I do to make the sauce is I then actually mix it with a chicken stock.
Right, OK.
So it's like 50-50.
So what do you want to do with the celeriac bit of this? Just peel it for the moment?
Peel it, and we're going to make a puree.
OK, no problem. Have you ever tried halibut and coffee together?
I have not tried halibut.
It's a first for both of us then, isn't it, really?
Do you know what? The idea came from, because we've opened a coffee shop as well as part of the Canary Wharf complex. And I was just looking every day at the amount of coffee that we go through and all the waste. And I was like, I wanted to come up with a way to try and use it, you know? So I developed this dish very much with that in mind.
So how do you end up in Australia and doing all these sort of stuff across the pond as well? How do you end up doing that?
I married an Aussie. And she won. Yes. No, I love Australia. Like, I've travelled to Australia for the first time in about 2009.
Yeah.
And was blown away by the people, the land, the produce. Like, it's just incredible. So, yeah, I always wanted to do something there. And luckily managed to, thank you, end up in a way where I can live there and still travel and do, obviously I've got lots of projects going over there, but also work here as well.
How difficult is it to, because we always look at one restaurant and two restaurants, how difficult it is, because you're juggling stuff the other side of the world, is that?
I've got an incredible team. Like, that simple. I couldn't do it without the incredible team I've got working with me, some amazing head chefs, amazing operators, and, like, it's hard, you know, it's not the ideal working scenario, but, you know, I'm here half the year, you know, so 50% of my time I'm in this country. This year a little bit more because we've had a few bits and pieces going on.
Yeah, just a few bits and pieces.
Just a few.
So the sauce is reducing down now.
Yeah. So that's boiled. Yeah. Basically, we now take it off.
Yeah.
Very close to boiling over.
Yeah.
And then we'll start the puree.
Okay.
With a little bit of oil.
So how does it differ between the restaurants that you got in the UK to what you got in Australia? Big difference?
Big difference, big difference. Australia's a much smaller scale. Here, like, M is the new site we just opened, 180 seats, whereas Australia, it's small. You know, it's 40 seats. It's a lot more intimate in Australia. But here is, you know, it's very glitzy. It's very, very London. So we put the thyme in there, and then we'll get the celeriac in.
Probably got some celeriac for supper, I think.
A little bit.
A little bit left
over.
A little bit,
James.
Yeah. I'll put that down there.
Let that almost break down a little bit, and then with the coffee, you would...
Do you want it in a bowl?
Yeah, bowl, ideally.
There you go.
Thank you. So, once it's infused, and then just pass it off. So you get all of that bitterness, that coffee flavour into your milk. And the longer you leave it, obviously, the heavier it is. Yeah. But the flavour of the coffee with the celeriac, it's a really good match, because obviously celerac's really earthy, you know, so the bitterness from the coffee really works quite well with it.
Okay.
So we then add that through. And then just a cartouche on top.
Loving this, right? Loving this. A little cartouche.
Little cartouche.
So I was doing this in the cook school the other day, trying to get people to do a circle out of a square. 8 of them got it wrong.
Oh, really?
8. Right.
Watch me.
So if those 8 people are watching, fold it over, fold it over, fold it over, fold it over, cut with a knife, little angle, like that. Open it up.
I love it. Like, to teach, like, it's one of those things, it's one of those...
It's not that complicated, is it?
It's not that complicated. But when you do it for the first time and you show a chef in your kitchen, they're always like, but how, chef? How?
I think you can always tell how busy a chef is by the state of the cartouche as well. Like, if it's a perfect circle, it's like, you need more to do.
Is that what it is? Right, there you go.
So once that's done, basically the final puree, you literally just, you blitz it up. Like, you finish it with a tiny touch of cream in a food processor, and then you end up with this beautiful coffee-coloured celeriac puree, which we're just going to bring through now.
I'll keep that warm for you, because I know you want to get your...
Yeah, I want to get the fish cooking.
The fish cooking on as well, so I'll pop that there. I'll put that stove on there for you, and then I'll warm everything up over here. So this just gently warmed up. I love the look of this. I think this is a great idea. This one as well.
And like, for me, purees, like, they should be like velvet. They should be really silky and, you know.
So this is just halibut going in here?
Just halibut.
Yeah.
So, skin side down.
But you want the other one?
Is that your way of saying you're hungry, chef?
Just saying. That's just where there's two of us here. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's the sauce. So the sauce you're just going to reduce down?
Just reduce down.
So it's just the the flavour of everything? Mm-hmm. All right. It's quite nice having people cook for you, isn't it? It's quite nice, that is.
It's a nice change, isn't it?
Exactly. So what else have we got on here, then? What are these sort of things, little garnish?
Some celeriac crisps, which I make with the rest of the celeriac.
Go on, I'll let you try these, Sally.
And then I finish the dish with a spiced raisin puree.
What is this? Spiced raisin puree. You can tell this is from your restaurant, because every damn thing now, if you hang around in the kitchen long enough, in a professional kitchen, you'll get a label stuck on you. Everything's got to have a stupid label on it.
I know.
Everything.
I went into the restaurant this morning at like 6 a.m. to pick everything up, and everything was labelled. They can't. They have to.
We spent our life labelling stuff. Right, we're ready when you are. So there's your plate.
We're done.
This is a bit fancy. I got my eye on this. This might have to stay here, to be honest.
Right,
this one.
I'll leave you that one. I'm gonna take the smoked vinegar.
Oh, yeah, okay. Switch that off. There we go. Bring that over there. There we go. Switch that off.
So you see just how beautiful, soft, and it's just a gorgeous sauce.
I've never seen anything like that. Never coffee and celeriac.
It's a new one.
New one for me as well.
I'll be checking your menu soon, guys.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's nice with venison, that, actually.
That's usually what happens. Mainly when Galton gets here, to be honest with you. There you go. Concentration on your faces. Right, what is that? What's that?
So this is the spiced raisin puree.
Made how?
Literally, we cook the raisins. Like, we put everything into basically a cryo bag, and we cook it with cinnamon and vanilla, and like, so it's quite winter spice.
Right. Okay.
And then basically boil it, and then we just blitz it all up at the end. Okay. Lots of alcohol in there, a bit of port.
It's pretty good.
And then we just generous amount of the crisps on top.
It does make amazing chips, these.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And you can bake them in the oven. I don't, I fry them, but if you want it to be slightly healthier, a few bits of red amaranth.
What are you after?
I was going to plate up a second one.
I'll put it
just for
I'll
you to
wash
try.
that plate for you. There you go. It's my house, I can wash it for you. It's fine.
I went to get it and I was
Listen,
like,
if I'm
I
having
think
something
it was
to eat,
raw
I'll
fish.
wash my plate up, that's fine. There you go. It's nice, I love it. I get the feeling I'm going to have a little bit less celeriac crisps on. Looking at what we've got in here. Love it.
Simple.
Yeah, I've
but
definitely got less celeriac crisps. Go on, I'll finish
split
off
it out
my dish, which is the poor version of your dish. you can put the stuff. I'll put a little bit more red amaranth on mine to make up for it. So this is the stock. So just explain to it. You've got the bones.
Yeah.
You put some chicken stock in there as well.
Yeah. So you've got your smoked fish stock reduction.
Yeah.
And then mix it with equal quantities of chicken stock. That's what gives you the lovely, beautiful golden colour. It's the chicken stock. And that slightly almost gelatinous.
So I'll let you do the little chefy drizzle.
Just do it slightly around. and not the...
Just whatever you've got left over for mine.
There's plenty.
There you go. Mike Reid, everybody. Cracking dish. Cracking dish. Right, so there you have it. First time you've ever tried that. It's first time for me as well. The old coffee, but let's have a taste. That is delicious. I tell you what, though, you wouldn't think the two go well together, but this is...
Yeah.
This is the important bit.
Needs the sweetness to counteract the bitterness from...
It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah. It brings it all together, yeah.
Mike Reid, everybody. It's brilliant, that. Good luck conquering the UK like you've done the rest of the world.
Thank you.
There you go. Now, if you're starting to think about your Christmas menu, then make sure you don't miss this week's Little Masterclass. That's coming your way shortly. But don't go anywhere, because after the break, Sally will be trying to top trumps Mike's dish as she treats me and the crew to an amazing plate of food. I'll see you in a bit. Did I say crew? Meant me. Welcome back. Now I'll be helping you get ahead in the festive season as I show you how to make biscotti, a sauce or a gravy, depending which part of the country you're in, the perfect Christmas pudding, and this week's Little Masterclass. But first, I'm delighted to be joined by the very talented chef whose CV includes stints at Claridge's, the Ledbury. It's a pretty good CV, isn't it, really? Already. As well as the Michelin-starred Harwood Arms. It's Sally Aby! Wonderful to have you back.
Thank you.
Oysters on the menu by the looks of things.
Yes, yeah.
What are we going to be doing with these?
So the dish is steamed portillo oysters with kohlrabi spaghetti, Exmoor caviar and Hambledon sauce de vide.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So lots of really luxury ingredients. And we're not going to do crazy amounts to them all because I want them to let them speak for themselves.
OK, so you want me to make the hollandaise first while you're going to talk about the oysters?
Yes, please.
2 whole eggs, 1 egg yolk, is that right?
Yeah, so we'll whisk them up nice and frothy and then we'll add the melted butter.
Oh, two egg yolks, one whole egg, sorry. Yeah. Got that.
And then we're just going to steam the oysters. So these are portillo oysters from down in Cornwall.
Yeah.
I think they're really delicious. You can get them all year round and they've got a really nice creaminess to them.
Yeah.
So I prefer oysters to be creamy rather than like really sort of briny.
Yeah.
And the reason we steam them is to puff them up.
Yeah.
So if you just give them about sort of 6 minutes in the steamer, they're not completely, cooked through and rubbery, but they just have a really nice velvety texture once you've got them to that stage. So give them about 6 minutes.
So you don't need to open them, you just...
Yeah, so it actually makes it easier to open once you've
I was
cooked
going
them.
to say,
yeah.
And it's interesting how you put them in like that. You put them in the flat side pointing upwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they can
there we go.
sit in all their juices.
So they sit in all their juices, right.
Yeah.
OK, and what about this? I love this vegetable, kohlrabi.
Yeah, it's quite an underrated vegetable. I don't think a lot of people really use it at home. I can't imagine you can find it in the supermarket, but it's just got a really nice freshness to it, and it's kind of like the brassica of cucumber, if that makes sense.
The brassica of the cucumber.
Yeah,
you are right.
And then we're gonna get rid of that. Put this in the bin, and then we're just gonna put these on the mandolin.
Now, I mentioned the CV as well. Last time you were on, you just opened your place.
Yes. Just opening.
Just opened it as well, haven't you, really? So tell us, everybody, about it, because,
So the Pem is a modern British restaurant in Westminster.
Yeah.
And it's actually named after Emily Wilding Davison, who was a suffragette. And basically the restaurant's sort of dedicated to strong women. That's kind of my whole thing in hospitality, is to empower women and promote women. So it seemed apt to name the restaurant after one of the strongest women there was.
Exactly. It's doing very, very well as well, I hear.
It is, yes.
So, but also you're early. I mean, just show everybody this. This is...
So it's quite a...
And you've done with your spiraliser.
Yeah, chefy tool, but it just makes it... it's just an interesting way to prepare vegetables, isn't it, really? I mean, I know courgette's had its sort of heyday with it.
Yeah, well, I remember the spiraliser used to do the springy things out of cucumber. They're just gathering dust now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's sort of the modern version of it, really, now. But so we got a nice little bit of sort of mayonnaise, sort of hollandaise sort of thing here.
Yeah, exactly. Really. So I'm just going to make a little pickle with some sugar. Right, let me check these oysters.
So I'm just going to leave that just ticking away nicely over there. Meanwhile, you want me to do the apple as well while we're doing that?
Yeah, if you just do a little julienne of apple, that would be fantastic.
OK, I can do that.
Can I just grab that cloth?
Yeah, absolutely.
Whisk knife. Thank you.
There you go.
OK.
I'll put that over there. You're putting me to good use, I think. Oh, really? So you're just helping the oysters on their way.
Yeah, exactly. So can you see how it's like puffed up in the shell now?
They do puff up now, really. And the trick is with oysters, well, you can explain what you're doing there.
So you basically, it's not actually about how much pressure you put on, it's about the hinge angle that you get. So you're not trying to go in, you're trying to go up. Yeah. Because then you're more likely to open it and you're also less likely to stab your hand.
Or you get somebody else in the kitchen to do it.
Or you get somebody else in the kitchen to do it,
exactly the right answer, Sally. It's exactly what I do.
OK, let's go one more.
Are they OK for you?
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, that's loads. Thank you.
There's the little julienne there. And we've got a nice little bit. Right, just finishing off this now. So.
Yeah, perfecto. Yeah, it's looking good. OK, so we'll pop that there.
It's about 200 mils, you reckon?
Yeah.
Okay. I love it how you cooked it in the oyster and then take it out afterwards. Ah, now I see. Now I see what you were doing. So I think, how on earth are you going to serve all this as one go? But
well, they're just extra ones for later.
And it's interesting that you keep the juice in there as well. That's the key to it.
That's the key, yeah, because it basically steams in its own juices there. So pop these around. Done.
Looks amazing. That looks amazing. That.
And then a little bit of apple just for freshness.
Right, well, I think that's that. And the creme fraiche you want me to add off the heat?
Yeah, just put a little spoon in just to like bring it all together. And then we're just going to put a little dill oil on there as well.
So I'll just put a little bit of spoon. Put that in there.
I really like using fresh herbs on most of my dishes as well, just to give it that little burst of flavour. I think they have so much more flavour than a lot of like little micro cresses. I think I'd rather just put like a piece of parsley or a piece of dill.
I mean, yeah, it's the advantage of having a little garden, a little veg plot at the bottom of your garden. That looks so
exactly.
beautiful.
Fantastic. And then we're going to... So this is Exmoor caviar. So this is the only caviar that actually gets produced in the UK. So it's good to be able to use posh things that are normally French or Russian.
This is a little bit fancy. We've got oysters.
It's very fancy, isn't it? I know. Very fancy. Okay. Nice dollop of that on there.
Looks beautiful. And those people who are just tuning in, Great British Menu, I've got to mention that. And congratulations getting through to the final.
Thank you so much.
Been brilliant.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was very challenging, but it was very fun. Where did that little jug go? OK.
I'm sure you want that in the
yeah,
jug?
just give it a little taste.
I haven't seasoned it for you.
Put some salt in there.
Some black pepper?
No, I don't think it needs any pepper, actually. I think you might just need a little tiny bit of vinegar then. Give it another quick taste. Yeah. That should do it.
Happy with that?
Yeah, perfect.
Good.
So everything in here is quite sort of briny and quite fresh and quite acidic, and then you've got this beautiful creamy sauce that's just going to bring it all together and really round it all off.
Right. I'll let you pour it over the top. Okay. Or pour a little bit on it, because I know you're going to finish it off with a little bit of this as well, aren't you?
Yeah. So that's just going to go around like that.
It just looks a beautiful plate of food. It's going to be fantastic. There we go.
There we go.
Lovely. Look at that. So give us the name of this dish.
So this is steamed Portillo oysters with Hambledon sauce divine and Exmoor caviar.
Sally, everybody. It's brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Well, Sally, I'm looking forward to this as well. While I dive into this, tell us about your recent trip to Peru, because, you know, that must have been amazing, trekking around Peru.
Yeah, it was incredible. So we did the Inca Trail and Machu Picchu.
Right.
So basically,
what is that place like? Is it?
It's phenomenal. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's one of the sort of 7 wonders of the world. So it really is a wonder. Like how they managed to get all of those blocks and everything up there when they'd not even got the wheel or anything. It was just incredible. Like it was all perfectly put together, and
it's such a struggle to get up there in the first place.
Yeah, gosh, yeah, it was very, very high altitude, but yeah, it was all. We did it for Action Against Hunger, so it was worth it in the end.
Amazing, mate. is incredible. It really, really is. But like I said, with the pickle and everything else, you got the creaminess of the sauce, the pickle of this. But oysters, they're so juicy as well, particularly Porphyry oysters. They're fantastic, but brilliant. Sally, everybody. Best of luck with the restaurants as well.
Oh, I thought you were
best of luck with the restaurants as well.
Thank you very much.
Right, Daniel Galmiche will be taking over the kitchen duties very shortly, and I'll be chatting some more to Laurence Llewellyn-Bowen. Do you fancy him coming around to your house and redecorating?
No.
OK, that's fine. Say how it is. He's not answering in my house, so say how it is. But you see you back here in a couple of minutes when we're helping you plan Christmas ahead in this week's little masterclass. I'll see you in a minute. Don't let him in. Don't let him in. Welcome back, and I'll be laying on lunch for my guest, Laurence Llewellyn-Bowen, later, and Chef Daniel Galmiche will be dropping by the house next. But first, it's time for this week's masterclass. And this week, I thought I'd show you a masterclass of what you can do right now to get ahead with your Christmas plans, really. So let's talk about savoury dishes first. We're going to get on to do a sweet one as well. But the savoury dishes first. You've got to talk about the sauce to go with it, or gravy to go with it. So this is a sort of a chef's version of a sauce that you can easily do at home. So this is a classic red wine sauce, and this is getting ahead because you can make this 3, 4, 5 weeks. You make it 6 months in advance. What you want to do for a red wine sauce is use some red wine. Now, it can be just a little bit of leftover red wine, not mulled wine, of course. Don't use that. But a decent bit of red wine. It's entirely up to you. If you're doing a white wine sauce, it's done exactly the same. It's just white wine, Madeira, exactly the same. Port, exactly the same, but less of it, obviously. Red wine, what we're going to do now is bring that to the boil and reduce it. Meanwhile, we'll turn our attention from, obviously, savoury to sweet. Christmas pudding, all right? Christmas pudding, really easy to make. We've got butter, we've got sugar, we've got Brownlee apples. This is my recipe, really. We've got flour, we've got ginger, we've got a little bit of allspice, some powdered ginger there, we've got some cherries, mixed peel, mixed fruit, and some eggs, and, of course, a little bit of brandy. But first thing what we do is take our little bit of butter here. Now, the great thing about this, you can almost throw everything in together, really, with this. So you just take the butter like that, mix it together. I use this bowl, because this is my old granny's bowl, really. She used to make the very, very same Christmas pudding in this very, very same bowl, like that. But we just mix that together with a little bit of dark sugar. Now, I like to use a little bit of dark sugar. You can use white sugar if you want. It just increases the flavour of this as well. So we just mix that together. Now, unlike normal conventional cakes, you don't need to keep mixing and mixing and mixing it, really creaming it all in together. You can just mix it all together like that. So once we get to that stage, we can add our spices. In we go with our allspice, our nice little bit of ginger. There we go. The apples, I'm using Brownlee apples for this. Now, you probably notice, keep our eye on what's happening over here as well. This wine is reducing down. Once it's about half reduced, now we can add our jellified stock. So pour that in. You can see what it looks like. And as it starts to melt, it goes into a liquid form again. So what we want to do is bring that to the boil now, and now we keep reducing it. Meanwhile, turn our attention to our apples here, which we can just grate. I've got some Bramleys over here, because I love the flavour of Bramley apples. It's up to you. If you don't want to use Bramleys, you can use a nice little sharp apple. Something like Cox's apples would be really good for this as well. But and I've actually done this with pears before as well. So you can take a combination of apple and pears if you wanted, but just grate them up like that. There we go. We've got our nice grated apple done. So take this lot, pop it all into your bowl. There we go. So it's a quick wipe down here. There. Right. So, this is the smell of Christmas to me now. You've got your nice Christmas pudding. We've got the sauce reducing all down here. In we go with our ginger. I like to use a little bit of candied ginger, including the liquid as well, really. That goes in. In we go with the cherries. Keep the cherries whole. These ones. In we go with the fruit. All in. In we go with the flour. And then in we go with the eggs. So you can see it's just putting it all in together. That's the key to it. So get rid of all that. And then mix this. Now, to be honest with you, I'm going to do it old school. Get in here and use your hands. We You'll probably get letters from this, but just use your hands. There you go. Much easier. Now, at this moment in time, you can add some alcohol to this, but I like to do it afterwards, really, for this one. So you keep mixing it. All the while, keep your eye on your sauce there as reducing it all down. You see the texture. You'll see as it's reducing it, it'll change dramatically as well. Once we get to that stage, like that, that's what we're looking for. We take our Christmas pudding, pop it into our dish or a vessel that we're going to cook it in. So this is a nice little pudding basin, like that. It's so much easier making your own pudding. Look at that. Do you believe there's 25 million puddings, apparently, eaten over the Christmas period in the UK alone? It's unbelievable, isn't it? 25 million of them. But look, making your own, so simple. Right, wash my hands. And then, once you get to that stage, then you can feed this. Now, feed it in my house is very different to... We have a wonderful lady called Sam Head, who's a home economist on the show. She's been with me from the very, very beginning, when I was about 6 years old. Apparently, she's 32. And I put it down to this bit, because every Christmas she takes a little bit of brandy, and apparently she feeds it with a whole bottle. Yeah, right. Yeah. But she feeds it, but I think it's a little bit in there and a little bit for her in the cupboard, to be honest with you. But we've got... The idea is, over a sort of 2 to 3 days, you keep adding a little bit of the brandy and you keep feeding it. You do this with Christmas cakes, but you do this with Christmas pudding as well. But then what we're going to do is take this and then pop it in the fridge, which will then go into Sam Head's car with this. And she'll be happy. Right, so the sauce is reducing it down. Next, biscotti. This is a fantastic dish that you can do at home. Really, really easy. Biscotti is an Italian biscuit, meaning twice baked. The great thing about this, you can do this now. They get better the more you make it in advance, to be honest with you, because biscotti means twice baked. So they're baked, the oven's turned down, and baked again, which dries them out. So what we're looking for is equal quantities sugar and flour. It's often 00 flour, but plain flour is what you need for this one. A little bit of baking powder. Just a touch. There we go. And then we use the same sort of mixture of sort of dried fruit. Instead, I've got in here, this is all for colour and texture. I've got some nice little bit of dried figs here, which are soft and they're chewy. You can use the dried bananas, those chewy ones. You can use cherries that I've got in here, there's dried ones. I've got a bit of raisins, they go in. But then the nut side of it, because you need the fruit and the nut, you need to keep these whole. And I've got pistachio nuts here for colour. I've got almonds over here because I want them whole. I've got hazelnuts over there, I want them whole. You can put things like chocolate chip in here as well. This is where you can really start to mix and match the recipe. Keep your eye on that sauce, remember. I know it's good because the ingredients are getting less that's in front of me over here. But you've got a nice little bit of lemon now. And this is where you can add a little bit of lemon, a little bit of orange. It's entirely up to you. Not really lime. Lemon or orange is what you want to use, really. You mix all that lot in here. Now, it may look really difficult, biscotti, but in essence, it's really simple. I shouldn't say this, don't tell the Italians, but look, a little bit of lemon, like that. But what you want to do now is you want to mix this by hand with the eggs. So 3 medium eggs, crack them in here. Now, what you want to do is make sure you've got everything ready, because the moisture side of it, that particularly the lemon, reacts with the baking powder, and it actually causes the mixture to start to rise. So don't mix this and just leave it. When you are mixing it, you need to start working with it and use it straight away. So again, like the Christmas pudding, I'm going to mix this by hand. Okay, what you're looking for is a mixture like that. Now, it wants to be sort of, look, you're not going to really roll this out. It's almost like a Christmas pudding mix, but this will give you that perfect shape that you want with your biscotti. So once you get to that stage, we can then just wash your hands, and then we're ready to roll this out. This is the most important bit now. So you see how much this is reducing down. Look how much sauce you're reducing down. You get about a quarter of what you put in. Meanwhile, we turn our attention to our biscotti. So we've got a nice little tray over here. I'm going to do this over here, so it creates a little bit more space. But what we want to do is we want to sort of roll this out. Now, when you're rolling this out, you've got to be quite quick and quite confident with it. So, plenty of flour. You can see the mixture now is actually starting to rise up. You can probably see that. See, look, starting to rise up. That's that lemon and the baking powder. So, get everything ready. Take your finger and your hands, put it in the centre. That's one part of the mixture. And almost in one movement, you roll it into a long sausage shape on there. So it's almost in one movement. Do the same thing again. A little bit of flour. Lift it up. Now I can actually feel the mixture. Look, it's starting to work and expands. That's why you need to get everything ready. A little bit more flour. Roll it up. The second mixture, or the second one, needs to be about sort of 4 to 5 inches away from the other one. This will mean that when it expands in the oven, they won't stick together. And you won't end up with one massive great biscotti. So set the oven, about sort of 180, 190. This is the first bit of the bake. And then this goes in the oven for about 20 minutes. All right, that sits in there. And as it cooks, it'll expand, it'll rise up in the middle, and you get that sort of biscotti. Now, just back over here with our sauce before we go back onto our biscuits. Hopefully you're still following this. Back onto our sauce over here. Then what we do now is we finish this. This is called Monte au beurre. It's to finish a sauce with butter. And you wouldn't think butter thickens a sauce, but it does. But the sauce has to be right, as in the texture of it, first of all, before you add the butter. If it's not, and you're doing this too early, you'll get a layer of fat on the top of the sauce. Keep persevering, keep reducing it, and that fat will disappear. Too much, it goes like treacle. Add a little bit more water and it'll come back again. We then season this up, black pepper, and a pinch of salt. Now, this is what restaurants are doing all around the UK, not out of the packs, but they're just making their own. But that is your simple little sauce. Once you get to that stage, have a little taste of it, put it in ice cube trays. This is the key to it. In ice cube trays, freeze it, and then once it's frozen, you can take these and you can put them out into little bags if you wanted to. But what you do end up with is, once it's out of the freezer, is your ice cubes, your finished sauce. And then the great thing about these, put these in a bag, keep them in the freezer, and when you want them, this is sort of one portion, you just warm them up and you've got your sauce already done. You're not, again, taking a little bit of stress out of your Christmas day. So that's your sauce done. Biscotti bit, just to show you this one, that's what they look like after about 20 minutes. Now, if you want pure classic biscotti, that twice baked one, take the oven, reduce it down to about 110, 120 degrees centigrade, and then when you slice them, like that, and always do this with a serrated knife. You'll never cut it through with a non-serrated knife because you want to cut through all those nuts and the dried fruit. But there you have your classic biscotti. When you dry them out, that Vinsanto that you dunk them in, or if you Sam Head, the leftover bits of brandy. But there we have your nice little bit of biscotti. You can put them in bags on the Christmas tree, hung up. You can put them in a nice little glass jar like this, and everybody can just help themselves on the run-up and on Christmas Day. But there you have it, the classic homemade biscotti, Christmas pudding, and a sauce to go with it. Hopefully, that's got you started for Christmas. Done. All right? Now, if there's anything you'd like to learn about in a little masterclass, then do get in touch with me, see if we can help out right here on the show. Time now for a quick break. Join me again in a couple of minutes when the legendary chef Daniel Galmiche will be here. I'll see you in a bit. Not bad, this, are they? Welcome back. Now, I've got a showstopper of a dish in store for my guest, Laurence Llewellyn-Bowen, coming up next. But first, I'm joined once again by a genius chef and a good mate of mine who's probably worked in more Michelin star restaurants than any other chef I know on the planet. It's the amazing Daniel Galmiche. Good to have you at the house, pal. Good to have you at the house. And it's so nice to be stood next to you cooking rather than for the last few years we've been sort of sat separate over here. And been coming there, you have to get rid of you and all that sort of stuff. But what, you got pork on the menu today?
Pork on the menu and all the garnish is sort of seasonal. For me, as associate pork, a lot with autumn because you can go with wild mushroom, chestnut, figs, pear, all these kind of ingredients which are really beautiful and tasty. So
In essence, quite a simple dish. We've got very, very few ingredients out in front of us.
Yes, it is. I'm going to get
rid of. So tell us about this fillet of pork.
Yeah, that's we call a
loin of pork.
Filet mignon in French, correct? Loin of pork. And we're going to take a little bit of the sinew out there.
Now, this is the important bit. You need to get rid of that little sinew because it can toughen up a little bit, can't it?
It does, yes.
Tough, but
not really, but also it can
shrink a little bit.
Shrink a little bit, yeah.
So he hasn't lost the Michelin knack of preparing it. Look at
him. I'm trying to, yeah. And that we normally use it and we keep it for kind of a ragu or something. We never use this part there.
Really?
Yes. No, you use it, but I mean, not to cook with the loin. No. Do you know what I mean? Yeah? Okay.
There you go. Okay.
Okay,
right, so you're ready with the pan?
Yeah,
I'll get this nice and hot for you.
Yeah. That we will use, don't worry.
Oh, don't you worry, we'll use it. It's my house, we'll definitely use it.
It's not going to be wasted.
Okay. Looks amazing, that, doesn't it? Really nice and clean like that.
Absolutely.
Right, so you've got a hot pan on the stove. You're going to roast this up.
We're going to seal it.
I'm going to prepare a few of these amazing mushrooms, which we're going to talk about. I mean, these just are beautiful, aren't they, these?
Oh, love it.
So you've been travelling all over the world.
I've done quite a lot of travelling.
I mean, I'm just looking at you. Where?
Yeah.
How? Why? What? You're sort of doing. You've been travelling everywhere.
Yes, I have actually this year. I don't know. It's been quite interesting and quite fun. It's always a lot of work. You do that as well. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
Travelling for what? Because you
people think it's easy. It's not.
Yeah.
You work in foreign kitchen, foreign team, whatever. But
so you do these little pop-up kitchens and pop-up dinners in places all around the world.
Yeah, no, at the moment, it's fantastic. I really, and obviously, I'm just back from Singapore 2 days ago.
Yeah.
I haven't been there for 27 years. You remember? I used to live there.
Yeah.
And everything has changed. The city is like another city.
Yeah.
But I find some of my friends, people I used to work with. I mean, it's been absolutely amazing.
That's great.
Yeah.
Right. So
lots of good work. Anyway,
so the pork's going in with the garlic.
Pork, a bit of garlic, a bit of thyme, which I'm going to put now. And after that, we're going to cook in the oven for about 8 minutes or something like that. Yeah. I need a touch more colour there, James.
All right. That is in other words, I'll stay away from the oven.
Yeah. Right. And that's it. So we're going. Oh my God! Look at that! What a treat!
Happy with it?
Oh yes, fabulous. We're going to add all these beautiful mushrooms. Let them release a bit of their juice.
Yeah.
Add some chestnut. Same. It's a season. Yeah. And those only cut in 4.
Yeah. Now the last time you were here, you cooked an amazing dish which people loved. The lamb with the licorice.
Yes. Yeah.
And from your new book, tell us about your new book.
Oh, French countryside cooking, isn't it appropriate?
Yeah.
And what I like of it is the way the chapter was described and the way when you read the chapter, you are transported straight away to that part we're talking about, which means when you were walking with your family as a child and collecting blackberry, which still a little bit of season, there's still quite a few. And all that, and I think it's...
You know the best way to pick blackberries? On a Segway.
Okay, with me I eat them. So...
On a Segway.
Okay, right.
Because you get them away from everybody else. You get the bigger ones.
Which are always on the top.
Yeah, and the dog doesn't pee on the bottom ones.
Yes.
Unless it's a big dog.
Unless I'm quite tall like me and you just can reach.
That's the best way. 8 foot, reaching over the top of the... That's the way to do it, you see. People think I'm weird in the village. That's generally how I pick the blackberries off the bushes. But
okay, that's going to put that
in the oven.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, you check it about, depending on the size, about 8 to 10 minutes, I would say, yeah?
That'll be cool, right.
Yeah? Okay.
So you've got one resting over here.
There. We've got the pan ready in here.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
That's ready for you, yeah.
Going to put a drop of olive oil.
So this is, you've taken the little bit of the juices out, but not scraped the pan. That's the key to this.
That's it, yeah. So mushroom first.
Yeah, and wash them or not wash them? Yeah. Or you just push them with a little brush?
Me, I always wash them, but very delicately.
Yeah.
Just really, you're not squeezing nothing, because sometimes the brush, it's good for some of the bouchons, like the one you had, which was a proper one.
Yeah.
But I prefer wash delicately, putting them on the cloth, pat dry, slightly down.
Okay.
The brush is for Michelin star work when makers do one by one. I used to remember that. And you got
do you miss that or not?
Yes.
You do miss it?
I just... It's anchored in my brain. It's very difficult. I started 15 years of age, James.
Yeah.
And
well, I said your CV has taken you all around the world in Michelin star restaurants.
And obviously, it's always with you.
Good. Right. So we got our fix.
Touch of chestnut there.
Yeah.
Me, I tend to break them a little bit like that.
Right.
Okay. And keep couple as a whole, like this, or half. And all that goes so well together. It's beautiful. And it would really goes well if we had a small filet mignon of venison, for example, which is the season as well.
Yeah, these are delicious, by the way, out the pan.
This is gorgeous. That is fantastic.
Amazing.
Now, put some of the fig. Yeah, we tried to make sure that the fig doesn't become too mushy. I don't like it, because it creates a puree like this, and it's not too good.
Now, this is the secret to it, I think, this.
Yes.
Sherry vinegar.
I love a good sherry vinegar, and I think people should never compromise when they buy sherry vinegar. It should be a really great one.
Yeah.
You don't need a lot. It's quite powerful, but there's something as this thing.
Well, all good ingredients you use less of, don't you? Because they're good ingredients. You use less of them.
It's delightful. I think every ingredient we should not compromise.
Yeah.
That's it. So now we're nearly there. I'm going to put a little bit of beautiful jus like this.
Yeah.
Get to reduce by half.
So that's reduced. You want me to chop the chives while we're doing that as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Touch this thing. Not too much salt yet before you taste it, because as we're going to reduce by half, it's all going to become a little bit more salty as well. So we need to be quite careful.
Finely chopped chives, is this all right for you?
Yes.
How many do you want?
Yeah, like that is fine. Perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
Or as my mother, as my mother cooks it. The other day I watched her.
Oh, that's a shame. But she was trying. She was trying. I'm sure you didn't.
I did get a whack when I said that.
Yes, I'm sure you did. Yes, I was going to say that. That's it. And quite rightly so. You know. She's trying her best, you know. She's not a chef, I guess. Okay, nearly ready. That's it. Look at that.
Good. So I've got my... This is the little pot. Do you want the... Keep the juice.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to add that to it. Perfect. It should be pretty tasty, pretty nice.
So
very autumn colours. Huh?
How long are you cooking the pork for?
Sorry?
How long the pork's gone in for?
This one, so pre-roasted, and we put about 7-8 minutes in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Depending on the size, a little bit more chive.
And you can see the texture change as it reduces down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Completely. Oh my God, it's so good. But that's what food is all about, James. I get excited, and I cook at home nearly every day when I'm there, and I love it.
Get excited. We were cooking Japanese food earlier. I nearly wet myself.
So look at that. I mean.
That's all right, that, Chief, isn't it?
Can't beat it.
Hey?
You just, I mean, that's it. Okay, like that. Let's not do a fine dining design, because James is going to say, you can't leave it alone, can you, Galmiche?
That's what I like about your food. It's honest, simple, but the taste. It's all about the taste.
It is.
Which is what it should be.
Yes.
Oh, look at that. You just need a little bit of French music going on in the background. That's
yes, and a little
not
bit...
Je le Taxi either.
No, not Je le Taxi. Joe, just put some of the bigger one there.
All right.
Sorry, not on the floor, please.
There you go. Happy with that?
Happy with that, absolutely 100%.
So give us the name of this dish.
Okay, so pan-roasted filet mignon of pork with chestnut, 1 mushroom, figs, a little bit of jus made with butter and sherry vinegar.
How good does that look? Daniel Galmiche, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Right, I'm looking forward to this. I'll leave you a knife so you can take the other one, but this is my kind of food.
Well, me too, so I'm quite...
My kind of food.
Quite pleased if you like it. Happy?
It's so simple, so quick. And pork like that's so inexpensive. It's beautiful.
And the mine's a good price. And also...
you can even make this with field mushrooms as well, which is really nice.
Completely.
Really
Absolutely, completely.
There you have it. He's a genius. I did tell you at the beginning of that. Daniel Galmiche, everybody. It's brilliant, that, pal. Right, we've still got time for one more final course. You're going to stick around as well?
Yeah,
Join us after the break as well.
Absolutely.
He'll be helping me serve a stunning plate of salmon for Mr. Laurence Llewellyn-Bowen. I'll see you after the break. See you in a bit. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Welcome back, sadly, to the last part of the show. Oh. But I'm here with my brilliant guests, the one and only Laurence Llewellyn-Bowen and Daniel Galmiche. So I thought a final dish, I thought I'd do you... And we had the salad and elaborate, and I thought I'd put colour as well. So I'm a big fan of colour. So rather than do a cured salmon, just leave it as it is. Cured salmon, which is just sugar and salt, it's one of the easiest things you'll learn to do. It's just salmon, salt and sugar, that's it. I'm going to do a beetroot cured. So it turns it an amazing colour.
Wow, so we're going to have purple salmon.
You can, technically, but it's a great flavour, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely.
So the
beetroot,
so well,
yeah,
the beetroot you just throw into the blender like that. So it's just going to blend it all up. So cooked beetroot. I should have chopped this up before I started, but I didn't want to get my hands covered in beetroot. Beetrooty as well. Now
It's quite amusing watching them bobbling around there. I quite
so?
you know.
You like that?
I do. There's something quite funny about that.
They're about not to me, but anyway, look. Stick that on
there we go.
There you go. It's gone now.
No, it's beetroot mass murder.
Yeah, exactly. Now we talked earlier about changing rooms, but we failed to tell everybody how popular it was, not just in the UK, because it was hugely popular, but globally as well.
Yeah. No, but it spawned this incredible kind of, whole dynasty of programmes all over the world. I mean, I went out to do the American version, which was called Trading Spaces, which was quite weird. It was quite confrontational. And then I've been doing The Apartment, which is the Asian version. And that's enormous, 130 million viewers. I mean, it's just incredible. Absolutely incredible. And there, I don't even have to do anything. I'm just the judge. I just turn up in the, the last 10 minutes and kind of snort a bit and tell them where they've gone wrong.
Did you have change rooms in France? Can you remember that?
They're far too tasteful. They wouldn't do that.
Right, there you go. No, I don't remember having that.
No, French makeover shows are great. They're very kind of, people stand around for hours and hours and hours smoking. And then, eventually decide that they're going to
That's just
slightly
TV
change
shows
something.
in France, isn't it?
It is,
yeah. They grab the gitane,
yeah, exactly. Always something hanging out of the mouth.
Yeah. Now, we've got to talk about lockdown and how it's changed people's habits as well. I was one of the people, like so many. I mean, you've been into the house.
I've just seen the boudoir that you painted black, for goodness sake.
I just had this idea. I can't remember what I was watching. I remember watching a programme going, black, I've got to paint this room black.
It's like that from a day to another.
It's very clever. It's absolutely one of the most clever things you can do, because black, the whole thing about the Chanel little black dress.
Yes.
It's because black absorbs light, which turns anyone wearing a black dress into a silhouette. So you become a shape rather than a form. Well, also, I mean, the other thing is it's the ultimate neutral. People get obsessed by using neutral colours like, sort of fawn or beige or greyish. But actually, black is the one that you can always rely on to really show off what you've got. And it's great, in terms of maximalism, in terms of curating the museum of viewing, in terms of showing off all your bits and pieces. It's great. You're totally on display.
I'm on point, is it? Look,
yeah.
We've got our beetroot. Before I get covered in beetroot and purple as well, we put the salmon over there with the beetroot on it, cover it up with cling film and leave that in the fridge overnight. Now, it was about 12 hours, 24 hours ideally, something like that. Yeah. Once it's done...
There's something vaguely CSI about it, I'm not going to lie. And there's something a bit alien autopsy about where we are at the moment.
Is it?
I'm sure it gets better.
It does get better, doesn't it? It doesn't get any worse, but it gets...
Especially when you cut it.
Yeah.
And you slice it, you see this beautiful... Like, it looks almost like
I'm glad Daniel's selling me as well, but look, when we open this all up...
Wow.
Now, it doesn't look anything now, you see.
Yeah, but when you cut it, that's where it's all coming out.
But then, when you pop it in the water...
Gorgeous.
To take any of the excess salt and sugar off, like that, and beetroot, because that's done its job.
Well, of course, you can overdo beetroot. I mean, I went through a phase of thinking the beetroot was really nice and having far too much of it until the next morning, where I literally thought I'd have to go straight into a clinic. Oh, my God, I've got something so wrong with me.
Yeah, you can't OD on beetroot.
Well, yes, absolutely.
Oh, dear.
So imagine if you drink beetroot juice every morning.
So we've talked about that. We've talked about, I mean, everything you've been doing as well, but one of the latest things you've been doing, and this is there's a show that's you, and why on earth and how on earth this hasn't come about before now, I don't know. Tell us about the new show that you're doing at the moment about people's homes.
You call a show Outrageous Homes, and what do you think you're going to get? But it is very much, it's an antidote to the fact that a lot of home shows on television are about the make-under. They're about the understatement. They're about, what you take out to sell the house or, how you can make it sort of feel bigger or brighter. None of that. This is all about guys. I mean, this
is genuine
people. So I'm not doing anything. I'm just meeting people that will, absolutely stuff their house full of taxidermy because they like death. or, you know, they want to replace their front lawn with pink astroturf, and pink astroturf does exist. But I think this is one of the things that I think people are going to really enjoy about the show, is that it's moving away from this, you know, imposed idea that you have to do a certain sort of thing to where you live, that you have to fit in with everybody else, that in fact your home is something that is so incredibly special to you. It should be somewhere that you know, recharges your batteries.
Yeah,
if that's pink astroturf?
Yes.
Do you not approve?
No, I do, actually.
Do you approve of pink astroturf?
Yeah, why not?
But that's good, because I've got a crack team of gardeners round at your gaff at the moment, putting down pink astroturf. So.
OK, very good.
Well, I'm just going to recap what we've got here. I've got my little pickle over here, a little bit of pickled cucumber, I've got some ginger, I've got some shallots over here. The pickle's made with a touch of sugar, a little bit of salt, and some of this vinegar. And then I take the leftover bits of cucumber, and this is how to use up a little bit of cucumber that you got left. You take in cucumber, most of the water, in fact, nearly all the water, is in the seeds. So we take the seeds out, so you can just use a...
Wow, look at that.
Get rid of these seeds and pop these in.
I'm quite impressed with your Henry Moore cucumbers, though. They look very,
like that? You like
very stylish.
The holes in. The holes in. They go in as well. This you then blend, and you can make kind of like a ketchup with it, really. But you need some form of vinegar. So what you do is you take a little bit of this pickling liquid and pop it in here. And then we just...
Got to make sure it's midstream, obviously.
Midstream, just blend it, exactly. Blend it all up. Now, what you end up with is quite a liquid. You go in here. While that's happening, we can take our bit of ginger while that's still blending.
Sorry, don't hold back on the gin, Martin.
Yeah. Bit of gin over the top.
No, but come on, more.
More?
Come on, it's maximalist.
All right, it's maximalist. You're going to get a lot of this anyway with this one. Which then, you talked about it, I knew it wouldn't take long. Before we talk about... Tell us about this new book, then I'll show it. Because this is the book that I've really enjoyed reading, to be honest with you. We talked about the in India particularly, the Taj Mahal. Yeah. What we didn't say was it was a celebration of
love.
Of love. His partners, because his partner died very, very young.
She died in childbirth. But the extraordinary thing at the time, you know, in society at the time, you know, you were supposed to have these, you know, harems full of concubines and, you know, all sorts of girlfriends. But actually, Shah Jahan loved one woman, and everyone thought it was absolutely crazy.
I'm looking through this. I love colour.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is Indian. Do you think?
It sings. It sings. It does. You know, but of course, pink is a massive thing in India.
Yeah.
The Shimla pinks.
Colour's a massive thing.
Yeah, colour is huge.
But it's around the world as well.
And we've been denying it. You know, the British ridiculous restraint, you know, minimalism, where everyone's being, you know, marched down to the grey paint shop. Actually, colour, particularly, look at our climate. It's so dank, it's so grey. We should be allowing our homes to explode, I think. I agree. Because chromophilia.
Like you said, colour does so many different things, from good luck to celebrations.
It seems as well, when sometimes you listen to friends or you've seen houses, they all got the same colour scheme. You think that people not copy each other, but I mean, these grey walls all the time.
No, but it's true. The thing was, I mean, you know, after the 90s and Changing Rooms and Ready, Steady, Cook and all the other shows, that people wanted to really grab hold of their lives and do something different with them. And colour became a big, big thing in the 90s and the noughties. But then suddenly we all got hijacked by estate agents. And it was the estate agents saying, you know, don't paint it that colour because you'll never be able to sell it. Of course you're going to sell it. Chances are you're going to sell it to someone who really likes pink. The book, More, is literally just saying to everyone, actually, you have a lot more fun when you don't do that. You have a lot more fun when you just let your hair down.
You talk about letting your hair down. You had some of the designs that you were...
Choose your words carefully, James Martin.
Some of the designs you were thinking may reflect...
There might have been gin involved.
There might have been quite a bit of gin involved in it, really.
Yeah. Well,
Did you do that out of... Is it you do that out of impact, or you genuinely think...
I mean, I do feel very strongly that I want to take people's taste and what they believe that they like and just turn it up a little bit, you know. But one of the things I've really enjoyed this time around with Changing Rooms is social media, because, of course, the first time around we didn't have social media. Yeah. I have literally, if I'm at home and I'm watching the programme, I've got one eye on the programme, the other eye on the appalling things that people say about me on social media. It's just the most empowering thing in the world. The idea of someone, oh, my God, I can't believe he's doing that. She said, yes, I am, actually.
Exactly, and that's the end of it.
Of course, we didn't have that when we first started.
We did. I mean, back in the old days, we used to get angry letters, or occasionally, and I'm sure you received quite a few, erotic notelets. You know, sort of ladies in the home counties, are sort of a little line drawing of a squirrel with, I like your leather trousers, in sort of slightly weird writing.
They're in the loft.
They're in the loft.
They're in the loft. Those
hey,
ones.
Look at this.
So they see how different it is when you slice it. The
I
colours.
like the fact it's ombre.
Yeah.
You know, you've got that lovely kind of purpley bit on the outside and orange on the inside.
Only you would think it was ombre. I'm just thinking it looks all right to me.
Yeah.
But ombre.
Come on, you need to pick up a couple of the words.
We're going to slice this all through. But yeah, I mean, this is so simple to do, Dan, isn't it? Really?
I love it. Massive impact.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And this is this little bit of cucumber ketchup. You can just put this all on here. But this is just a nice little bit of flavour.
Again, we're talking colours. Colours is great.
A nice little bit of flavour to go with it.
Much more often.
In fact, there's something a bit 70s about it that I rather like. It's kind of galloping gourmet. You need more colour on your plates.
Well, I know as well, because I was reading about you, we both got the same fan.
Really?
The late, great Keith Floyd.
Oh, well, yeah.
We were both fans of his. And looking over your shoulder...
Yeah.
Is the gentleman? God. That is the gentleman's restaurant menu that was outside his restaurant menu in Clifton.
Isn't that funny?
There we go, with a signature from him as well.
Well, I did the pub for him in Tuckenhay. I actually worked for him before I was on television, and it was the most extraordinary, moment. I mean, because he was so disinterested in what people thought. He always absolutely made his shows in the way that he wanted to make his shows, whatever.
Which is what you should be doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He was great.
Well, there you have it. While we've chatted, it's been a pleasure talking to you today. It's been great.
Your fingers never stop, do they?
Exactly. Try not to be. It's just peddling at the same time. But they have a beetroot cured salmon that you can do for Christmas. It's wonderful, but it just looks so delicious. Easy as that. Go, guys.
Super pretty.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
A little bit of pickled ginger in there.
Wow. But the thing as well with colour, you eat with your eyes first. It's so nice, and already it's just.
That's great. And I love the cucumber balls as well.
Yeah, nice and simple. Yeah, and the nice little. I like the ketchup with it as well, but you can just serve it.
Really clever.
Yeah, they like ketchup. Just uses the leftover bits of cucumber. It's brilliant. There you go. That's it. That's all we've got time for today. Massive thank you to all my guests: Susie Stew, Mike Reid, Sally Abbey, Daniel Galmiche, and of course Laurence Llewellyn-Bowen. We'll see you back here at the same time next Saturday when I'll be joined by more great chefs, other brilliant guests. Until then, take care, stay safe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you at my house next Saturday. Bye for now.